Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I will be doing my spoilery review of Gone to Darkness by Barbara Nickless. So this is the fourth book in the Sydney Parnell series, and obviously because this is the fourth book in the series, it'll kind of be spoilery to the first three books. So if you haven't read those yet, then kind of click out of this video. But if you have read the third book, this one won't be spoily in terms of like that plot, and I don't go into detail about a lot of the things that happen in here, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you're not aware of like kind of the overarching kind of storyline, then this will be spoilery for you. So this is the fourth book in the Sydney Parnell series, and I was super excited for this when it was coming out. I really love this series. It's very unique in many different ways, so I was super excited when this one would be coming out. And it follows Sydney in a new role. She is now a detective in the like Colorado PD, and she's exploring this new role, and she's kind of basically become the poster child because the department has been kind of, you know, there's been kind of talk about them being sexist and not having enough women and diversity in the kind of workplace. So she kind of becomes the poster child for that. So she kind of has a trial basis in becoming a homicide detective. So her partner ends up being Cohen's old previous partner, who doesn't really like Sydney, and Cohen has moved now to sex crimes, so kind of everything is a little bit different now this time around. So the overarching storyline is that this man is found dead in a produce train like car, and he is severely kind of, you know, it looks like it is a hate crime in some way, and so Sydney ends up kind of going down this path and trying to figure out why this man is murdered, and it kind of leads down a kind of misogynistic, anti-women like kind of a group that kind of forms, and that leads to a series of murders that are related, and it kind of goes down that way. So it had a very interesting plot, and I liked how it talked about, it was very similar, I'm trying to remember the episode of Criminal Minds where there is kind of like this one that like really misogynistic guy who's teaching men how to, you know, pick up women. It was kind of similar to that. I kind of got that vibe from it, but overall I really enjoyed the mystery aspect in here. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. This wasn't my, like, it wasn't as amazing as like the third book, I think, but this still was really good. I feel like this is very much a transitional book into kind of the new kind of phase of this series, so I can't really complain too much about that. Like the beginning was very, like, it started off right off the bat, and I really loved like seeing Sydney in this new role. My only complaint was that the kind of middle half of the book was very slow as they're trying to put the pieces of the like murder together, but the last 50 pages did not disappoint. It was just super intense, a lot of fun, and I loved every second of it. I did feel a disconnect from some of these side characters this time around. This one did focus solely on Sydney, but I did feel a disconnect from like Cohen and like from there, so it was just a little bit weird. I felt like that companionship that they've had and like that chemistry, it was like they were trying not to talk to each other about their work. I think like even though they end up collaborating together, like it still felt like a disconnect. We don't get to see a lot of them together. It was more focused on Sydney and the case, and I think that's because this is like, I feel like this is where the series kind of is going down a new path. So I'm hoping in the next one we'll get to see more of Cohen and Sydney together. And what I think this series overall does is kind of highlight PTSD and how there's not a lot of resources for people who come back from war, and we still see Sydney still struggling for it, and you see her improve from the first book, but this one really, I think this series does a really good job at highlighting that. But yeah, overall I really enjoyed this book. Like the ending of this was like super intense, and it just ends and you're like, oh my goodness, like it was so intense. So now, even though this one wasn't like my favorite out of the series, it was still very, very good, and I love this series enough. Like I can't recommend it enough. It does a really good job. It's very different than the cookie cutter stereotypical crime novels that are out there. This one is more modern, it's different, it has a canine companion, Clyde, who is just the best. And yeah, this one was just super creepy too because of like that misogynistic like like killer mindset was just really creepy. And there's something like, it's kind of very similar to Handmaid's Tale, where it's just kind of like men won't understand that fear but women will. So it's just very interesting, that fear in there. And I totally felt that just with the crimes, and especially with the ending. Like, oh my goodness, super intense, and I cannot recommend this series enough. So I'm really excited for what the next book has in store. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick review. Let me know in the comments below if you've read this series or this book and what you thought about it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.